This heavenly little creature is the Bay. Sorry, the Black Bay. I've already. All right, take two. This is the Black Bay. You may have heard of it. Today, I'm gonna confess something. I've bought my second Tudor in 30 days. No, not this. I'll share the unboxing shortly. Yeah, I have a Tudor problem. I have a bigger Tudor problem than Henry VIII did with his many wives. Terrible Tudor joke. But I want to address something, why I was so wrong about the bland bays. Let's roll the intro and get into it, shall we? Alright, hi guys, and welcome to the show. I'm smiling profusely because I'm wearing my dear old Panerai on the Tropic rubber strap from Holborn's. Shout out to them. This is a combination I typically wear in summer, springtime. I haven't worn it for a while. I just couldn't bring myself to take the strap off. It's so comfortable, you know, I just love it. It doesn't really go with my attire, but you know what? I guess you could say it's modern sprezzatura, right? Oh, I should say, guys, a lot of you have been saying that for some reason the YouTube glitch, and it's happening to a lot of channels, seems to unsubscribe you. So make sure you are subscribed, because I get comments saying, oh, I've missed episodes. For some reason YouTube unsubscribed me. Blah, blah, blah. Make sure you are subscribed. Why a dramatic U-turn on what I whimsically nicknamed the Bland Bay? Well, not exactly. You see, every day I get emails and comments thanking me for my efforts creating this free content that I produce, and how my typically optimistic demeanor, with how I've always mixed in a wider context of culture, art, design, occasionally philosophy, even gremlins to the new batch, like my last video.
I think there are some fascinating ramifications here for the future.
But always history, and perhaps most importantly, my respectfully honest, independent opinions into the storytelling. It provides a kind of horological escapism, a welcomed change from the often merely superficial surface-level narratives that typically veer off into exploitative sensationalism for attention, or just straight-up shilling in the never-ending cesspit of philistinism of the World Wide Web during these perpetually best of times and worst of times. And I have to say, it's support like this from you guys out there that really I find the most inspiring. I really don't want to end up being another one of these old men yelling at clouds watch channels, because there are too many of those. Endless speculation, endless hateful based opinions. These are armchair watchmakers that have never been in a factory. They don't know what goes into designing, prototyping, testing, manufacturing, sourcing the parts, the long supply chains, the QC, the distribution, the
2 very boring minutes later,
the marketing, even the legal aspects. I spent 2 years consulting for a brand, just securing trademarking. This is regional throughout the globe because there's different areas. Securing trademarking just so they could sell their product. And this is not a brand I've actually shared on the channel, I should be abundantly clear, but just to give you an example of what goes into producing and making a watch from start to finish, these people have no idea. Having said that, I still think the Tudor Black Bay is a very confused watch. Nobody can deny that the Black Bay, no matter which version, are excellent. Mostly tastefully done, let's not mention the pink one, Swiss-made quality watches for the money. In fact, this 54, which I borrowed from the used section of Moyer Fine Jewelers, who incidentally I sold my last Tudor to, quick thank you to them by the way, well, it's perhaps the most flawed Black Bay yet. But brace yourself, and I hope you're sitting down for this. Despite all the failings, it's the first Black Bay I would actually consider buying, and the only one that's ever given me even a tiny weeny bit of genuine Submariner vibes, unlike all the others that leave me colder than the hair on the polar bear's cooler. Now let that sink in for a moment, and I'm not talking about the polar bear's derriere. So I spent a week empirically analysing it, along with a ton of research, to fully understand the equal amount of negatives to positives, and I'm considering addressing it in a full review. Now, I'm not sure if it's worth several more weeks of writing, shooting and editing it, so if anyone's interested, do let me know. But regardless, what is undeniable is these dagger watches filled a much needed position in what I've described before as a sort of rearguard action to protect the Rolex Advance ever upwards from the increasing threats of the ops, especially the METAS-tested reinforced nemesis, Omega. It's exactly how the marketing mastermind of Wilsdorf originally intended. Affordable yet equally capable alternatives to the corona-wearing king on the throne. I'm ashamed to say I was as eager as a mindless lemming to jump into the Black Bay abyss, from which it derived its original name from, with the very first generation of 2012. Remember the cool smiling text and rose dial of the ETA red variant? Trust me, I tried to love it. But it was such a horrendously chunky, half-baked attempt at vintage-inspired, mostly due to being the tail end of the oversized trend. And so it took Tudor over a decade to get the size watch enthusiasts like myself always desired. Sadly, however, the incongruent mix of Rolex dial markers with iconic Tudor snowflake hands still persists to this day. But there's a fascinating story that I will leave for the future review as to why they stuck to their guns on this mist-mash hybrid design. Inevitably, I fell down the vintage sub-rabbit hole to get my fix. And with all the trust-funded watch media hipsters then jumping on the bland wagon, the cash cow soared like an inflated cananga. As did the inflated marketing budgets into a giant pay-to-play conspiratorial conjunction of manufactured hype. So much so, it was enough to drive any Lady Gaga. See what I did there? Anyway, Tudor simply didn't feel quite the same after that, so can you blame me for returning to the hype-free neo-vintage offerings? When something becomes so overhyped, and it seems like everyone is reading off the same press release, like some kind of, industry plant watch dealer. Oh wait, most of them are. Most of them are. It instantly turns me off. It makes me feel like I'm being gaslit by some kind of watch media conspiracy, like I should be liking this watch. And in a way, the Bland Bay, as I came to call it, for me became symbolic or emblematic of everything I loathe about marketing or watch marketing in the industry. And so it polluted it. We should not give a hoot what anyone says about a watch, but when it's so pervasive and it seems like everyone is like forcing it down your throat, I'm sure the critical thinking gentry out there can think of many other examples, and please do share them in the comments where this has happened. Perhaps it's happened to you. But don't worry, there is a happy ending for the Bland Bay. All right, goodbye, Amiga. Goodbye, Pierce. This isn't me just trying to be overly contrarian for the sake of it. The last time I checked, there was well over 100 different references of Black Bays. This is a staggering amount, especially when you consider the collection has only been in existence for over a decade now. Compare this to only 20 different references of the Tudor Submariner in over 5 decades, from 1954 to 1999. So they really did flood the market, and at this point it's even more derivative than my diving saturation jokes. Warhol would have painted Black Bays and not soup cans if he had been around today. You see, when profit, or the chasing of it, overtakes the need to protect the integrity of the product itself, it results in a ubiquity that undermines and cheapens the collector coolness that the Walking with Watches channel so cleverly described. This is then exacerbated by a conformist watch media that perpetuates the same emetic-causing value-prop sales pitch cliché.
The last capitalist we hang will be the one who sold us the rope, Karl Marx.
Oh. Okay.
However, there's a third nail to this mostly steel coffin of this triangle of sadness. An underlying contrived nature that I can only describe as the paradox of the overly perfected corporate vintage inspired. When modern manufacturing techniques, superior materials and sterilized robotic Henry Ford style assembly lines create such a high quality product for less than its vastly outdated predecessors, it's immediately at odds with the vintage aesthetic it's trying so desperately to cling on to or reimagine, to quote Seiko. And this is fundamentally why many big boy brands often feel a little soulless, insipid, or incoherently conceived. It's not just a disconnected watch designer in some remote, idyllic Swiss setting far away from the immediate feedback of our community that is to blame, even though that certainly doesn't help. But it does explain why microbrands are often more at the crest of the wave in terms of trends than the slower to move giant conglomerates. There's a reason I own a vintage Longines and not the new ones. And don't get me wrong, the new ones are amazing, but they're a prime example of a kind of corporate sterility, a tick boxing. They lack a little bit of, dare I say, soul. And I was talking to my good friend Nick, shout out to you, fratello mio. He was saying the same thing about Omega. He can't really get into modern Omegas. He feels, I think his words were, he couldn't connect with it. And I totally get that. And funnily enough, I've done a video on the power of nostalgia, and it's not nostalgia because I've never owned this Longines before. It's not the same as why I played Duke Nukem 3D. You know, it's the 30th anniversary, incidentally, this year of that game, and I can't get enough of it. It's so horribly dated, politically incorrect. I mean, he's misogynistic and...
You wanna dance? Shake it, baby.
Insert, shake it, baby. I can't believe I'm talking about Duke Nukem. My point being is that it's not nostalgia. It's something else. In many ways, the tool-tastic purity of the Pelagos is what Tudor should be doing, whereas this, the Black Bay, is what people want. There's a lovable wabi-sabi charm in the impermanence and faults of genuine vintage that makes new watches feel clinical, almost the simulacrum of AI-like uncanny valleyism. Insert a T100 imitating humans metaphor here.
Watch had gone through a lot. It had survived a lot.
The Tudors, they're really artifacts that have been through it, and every scratch tells a story on here. And I'll add a few to scratches over the years that will add to that story. This Tudor was made before I was born.
Sure, a Black Bay can pick up scars to help uniquely define it, but it will always lack the inimitable individualism that comes with natural patina occurring, like the fragility of a 7928 or 9401, for example. You know what I'm talking about, the stuff of horological wet dreams for collectors with DuckTales money. Sometimes the imperfections are what truly imbues character, proved so ironically by my experience with this Tudor Black Bay. And I know what some of you will say. Well, TGV, you've designed many vintage-inspired watches, so what makes them any different? You devilishly handsome hypocrite. Firstly, each watch should always be judged individually. Some simply do a better job of encapsulating the past and bringing it into the modern age than others. Secondly, with affordable watches in particular, crafted at a sub-luxury level, with dated materials, techniques, and thus manufactured to a lower overall quality relevant to price, ironically, they end up with something that feels more believable of antiquated ages. Advances in tech has allowed a $500 micro-brand watch from your typical mid-tier Chinese factory to be comparable, or even dare I say superior in some literal cases, to 1970s or 80s Rolexes, minus precious metals and decoration of course. But you know what I'm trying to say here. I can never pretend to love something I don't. That's just not my style. That's just not me. I'm not an actor. Do tastes evolve? Do minds change? Of course they do. Take the Panerai, for example. It's perfect that I'm wearing it. Had you told me 3 years ago that I'd be an ardent Panerista, I would have laughed at you. But here I am with a 40, and I absolutely still adore it 2 years later. So don't knock it until you try it. That's a big lesson there. But what I'm talking about is the mistake I made of ridiculing it. I think of my Submariner that my mother left me, who passed away last year. If you don't know the story and you just go in the comments and go, Submariner boring, blah, blah, blah. And I don't get upset because you don't know the relevance, you don't know the meaning, but I don't want to be the person calling your Grail watch a bland bay, or something that was left to you by a loved one, or your birthday, or to commemorate something. And I'm the a-hole that belittled it. I would hate myself if that happened, so I made a mistake there. I guess it's the alliterative, bland bay, black bay. Is it oversaturating the market? Of course it is. But I don't want anyone out there to ever take offense, and it's just my opinions. And for anybody out there who I may have offended with my opinions on the Black Bay, I'm sorry, I really am sorry. Never ever listen to anyone else's opinion about your watch. I know people say, oh, this is too big for you, oh, Panerai, waste of money, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I'm loving it. Do I care that it's a modified Valjoux? No. I'm never ever going to allow anyone to diminish my enjoyment, my passion for watches, and nor should you. So I guess I should lead by example there. And speaking of hateful comments on online, let's cut now to the unboxing. Yeah, I'm going to get a lot of flack for this one, but you know what? I like what I like, and I don't care who knows it. Quick knife check. We'll use the old Opinel. Let's make the first incision. So there's the authentication, and I'm just going to check it. Moment of truth. Drum roll, please. Right, let's open it up. Oh, there it is. The champagne dial. Wow, so look at this. This is new old stock. You see, there's still got the, let's zoom in a bit. Still got the stickers on, and yeah, I wanted to buy it from new, and I'll explain why later. But if I bring in the last one, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this changed, and yeah, oh heavens, not another blingy Tudor. What's next? A bust down like Central C? Yeah, stickers on the back, completely brand new. Never worn, I don't think. The dealer had a few of these. He's put them in the safe. A shout out to him. Really nice guy. Fan of the channel, nonetheless. So this is a legitimate purchase, as all of my purchases are always. I don't expect any preferential treatment. But lovely, lovely guy. Really knowledgeable. He actually asked me if I'm going to put this in a safe and sit on it, but no, I said I'm going to wear it. So yeah, box papers, the lot. Oh, even a manual, everything. Off it goes, off it goes. It's a little bit more pronounced, shall we say, a little bit more presence. You see the sticker still on this side. Yeah, let's check the quick set. Seems to be working nicely. We'll see how it goes over the next 48 hours.
Perfect.
Before I explain why I purchased yet another of the same reference Tudor, please check out my last unboxing for a full dive into the history and importance of the Date-Day series. So shortly after that episode, I received a lovely email from a gentleman named Dominic, a Gentry member and fellow Vice Prezi owner in Switzerland. So grazie mille to him for telling me about the following service that Rolex/Tudor ADs offer, and in his case at Buchera, or Butchera, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that, but anyway. So in the past I expressed how I would very much like to have a Rolex president or Tudor vice president with the Italian day wheel, for obvious reasons. Well, it turns out that Dominic, who married an Italian and also speaks the language himself, desired the same for his Tudor. For a very reasonable price, he was able to change the day wheel from English to Italian, along with a different dial of his choosing. So with this in mind, I immediately leapt onto eBay to track down any two-tone 76213 in new old stock, or possibly even new if I really got lucky, and I was able to find this Safe Queen, still with the original stickers and all the trimmings. Because knowing that I can hopefully select the white with applied Roman numeral dial with the Italian day wheel configuration I've always desired, what is then important is the overall condition. But truthfully, the meraviglioso champers and diamond dial is beguiling, even if admittedly, like Dominic, I'm more of a linen dial fan, as you know. And being in my final third act of my collecting story, I only intend to have one presidential style day and date watch. So if I'm able to change this, even if I have to go to Italy or Switzerland to do it, it will kill the most birds with one stone, being cheaper to service, a more robust steel and gold combination, and of course the dial and language of my choosing, freeing me up to flip the big boy Rolex and help fund my remaining grails and get ever closer to my final level perfect lineup. So here I am, one step closer to my perfect date day or day, whatever you want to call it. Just got to put the jingly jangly jubilee and we are done. Thank you to Moyer for lending this in. Should I do the full review? I mean, it's another week of writing, editing, and then I've got to shoot it as well. Is it even worth it? Do you guys want to hear my opinion on the 54? Because I've written quite a deep dive analysis, pun not intended. It's so weird. It's the most flawed Black Bay, and yet it's the first one I really like, you know? Oh my God, what is going on? But that's the complexity of the watch world, isn't it? So, yeah, let me know in the comments. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go and play some Duke Nukem 3D.
Shake it, baby.
So don't forget to like this video, especially if you want to support more free, truly independent, non-watch dealer content. I'll catch you in the next one. Onwards and upwards. Thank you for watching. Ciao.